Daniel Jones signs with the Vikings after being released by the New York Giants. A depleted 49ers team gets absolutely destroyed by the Packers. Saquon Barkley goes for 255 against the Rams. The Aaron Rodgers Jet saga continues to be a train wreck, plus we got more. Now, before we get into the topics today, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot in these YouTube streets. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate you all for rocking with me so far. Anyways, let's get back to business. Now, it was announced today that Daniel Jones has found a new home. Danny Dimes has signed with the Minnesota Vikings after being released from the New York Giants just a couple days ago. Now, Daniel Jones was so down bad that he literally went to the owner and president of the Giants, John Mara, and requested a trade himself. And I can't blame him after the way the Giants treated him. I mean, it's one thing to bench him, and it's a whole other thing to pretty much embarrass him. They had him third on the depth chart behind Tommy DeVito and behind Drew Lock. Then eventually they signed another quarterback, Tim Boyle, off the practice squad and demoted Danny Dimes to fourth string, which is pretty disrespectful. You could see in some of the videos from the practices after he was demoted, he was just there. He just didn't want to be there at all. You could see it from his body language. He just wanted out. So it makes complete sense for them just to cut our losses on both sides and just go their separate ways. And the New York Giants released an official statement from this. Here it comes from Giants president and owner John Mara. And this is what the statement said. So on a Twitter post on November 22nd, 2024, he said, "Daniel came to see me in the morning and asked if we would release him. We mutually agreed that it would be best for him and for the team. Daniel has been great representation of our organization, first class in every way. His handling of the situation yesterday exemplifies just that. We are all disappointed in how things worked out. We hold Daniel in high regard and we have a great appreciation for him. We wish him nothing but the best in the future." Now, I think everybody sensed that something was on its way similar to this, that Daniel Jones would either be cut, released, or leave, what have you, especially after his final interview with the press where he pretty much said goodbyes and, you know, it seemed like he had a lot of regret in his statement. Here's the interview portion right here.
Down just to make sure I say it the right way. Let's see, the opportunity to play for the New York Giants was truly a dream come true, and I'm extremely grateful to the Mara and Tisch families for the chance to play here. The Giants are truly a first-class organization, and I have nothing but genuine respect and appreciation for the people who have built it and who helped carry on that tradition. I've met so many special people and created relationships that will truly last a lifetime. Thank you to all my teammates, coaches, and staff that have done so much for me these past 6 years. There have been some great times, but of course, we all wish there had been more of those. I take full responsibility for my part in not bringing more wins. No one wanted to win more games worse than me, and I gave everything I had on the field and in my preparation. Of course, this season has been disappointing for all, and of course, I wish I could have done more. I'm 100% accountable for my part. I did not play well enough consistently enough to help the team get the results. The reality of the NFL is it's hard to win games and requires consistent performance from everyone involved. We didn't do that well enough, so the idea to change something happens, and I understand. I love the game, I love being part of a team. I'm excited for the next opportunity, and know that there's a lot of good football in front of me, and I'm excited about that. To all the fans, I have deep respect and appreciation for your passion and love for the Giants. The fans are a huge part of what makes playing for the Giants so special. Thank you. Take questions now.
To be quite honest, even though things didn't work out the way they would initially have thought, this is probably the best move for both parties, just to have a fresh start. This ends Daniel Jones' 6-year run as starting quarterback of the New York Giants. And what can you say, man? Just a little more than 2 years after signing a 4-year, $160 million contract, they're now cutting him. And honestly, the Giants had no choice. Daniel Jones had a $25 million injury guarantee that they would have to pay out in 2025. They did not cut him. So the writing was pretty much on the wall. They had to do this regardless. And it looks like they still have around $12 million that they still need to pay him, even though they have released him. So Daniel Jones, in my opinion, won. He gets to go to a new team. He signed a 1-year, $735,000 contract with the Vikings, which is peanuts. So he'll be able to have a fresh start, a new system with some weapons. I mean, you got Justin Jefferson there. He'll probably take reps with the second team, something like that. So, and overall, Daniel Jones has been largely professional throughout his time in New York, even though he's taken a lot of criticism. People have shat on him quite a bit, fans and the like. There's never once been been any controversy out of this guy other than how bad he's been playing. He's never once said anything bad about his teammates or anything like that. So overall, he's a pretty professional guy, but he looks like he's just not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Maybe if he's on a team that's already loaded with a roster, then he can do really, really well and maybe they can make the playoffs. But it looks like he's just mainly just backup quarterback talent, and that's okay. You know, not everyone who comes in the NFL is going to be a top level talent, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? But at least he gets a fresh new start with a new team. The Vikings are a great organization, definitely better ran than the New York Giants, that's for sure. And at the very least, the Minnesota Vikings won't make the same mistake to commit to a mediocre level quarterback long term like the Giants did. Now, even with Kirk Cousins as a Minnesota Vikings quarterback, and I would say Kirk Cousins is definitely a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. And if you look at him in the range of quarterbacks in the NFL, he's definitely above average. They never even committed to Kirk Cousins long term either. Every single time they would sign him, it'd be a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal or a 1-year deal. And even then, none of those contracts were close to the size of Daniel Jones' contract as well. Kirk Cousins' biggest contract with the Vikings was a 3-year, $88 million contract. I will say the one criticism you can give for the Vikings is that Kirk Cousins had as much success as Daniel Jones did in the playoffs. And funny enough, Daniel Jones actually beat the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs to get his first playoff win as a New York Giants quarterback. Now, I will say things are definitely going to get pretty interesting in that Vikings quarterback room. I mean, the Vikings already drafted quarterback rookie JJ McCarthy with the number 10 overall pick in the last NFL draft. And I'm sure that they thought they had that franchise quarterback secured for the future. But after JJ McCarthy suffered that season-ending knee injury in preseason, the Giants organization had to pivot and they had to go with Sam Darnold as their starter for the season. And there may be a little bit worried around JJ McCarthy because just 2 weeks ago, he had to undergo a second procedure on that same knee due to swelling after he started physiotherapy. Head coach Kevin O'Connell says that he's still on the same timeline and trajectory to come back, but you never really know with an injury like that. That's a terrible injury to have. So at the very least, it does make sense for the Vikings to sign another quarterback to their roster, just in the odd case that JJ McCarthy can't come back on his original timeline. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Vikings do from here, especially with all these quarterbacks in the quarterback room. You kind of feel sad for Sam Darnold a little bit. It looks like this was the first time he was going to have to really revitalize his career, and he's been doing well. The Vikings are 9-2 and second in the division in the NFC North, which is great. I mean, it's crazy that you're 9-2 and still second in the division, but that's just how good the Detroit Lions are right now. And Sam Darnold's stats have been solid overall. Right now, he's 9th in passing. He has around 2,700 yards. He has 21 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So overall, he's doing pretty well. He's on a 1-year, $10 million contract, so it's pretty cheap relatively for a quarterback for the Vikings. And to be able to get Daniel Jones for under $800K signed on your team as well is just another steal. So overall, win-win for both the Vikings and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones gets a fresh start, and it was said that after he was released, he wanted to be on a contender for the playoffs. So now you're back up on a contender. I mean, the Vikings are definitely going to have home field advantage if they continue to win out the rest of the schedule, and they're definitely going to be making the playoffs without a doubt. So if Sam Darnold goes down or something else happens, Daniel Jones may have an opportunity to be able to play in the playoffs again. So you never know what will happen from there. Now, even though Daniel Jones found a home and it seems like things may be looking on the up and up for him, you can't say the same about the New York Giants right now, because the New York Giants are absolutely going through it, and you have players who are absolutely fed up. The media interviewed Giants wide receiver Malik Neighbors after they got destroyed by the Buccaneers 30-7 this past Sunday, and he just had enough. Here's a little bit of the interview here.
Today, would you use to describe this loss?
Selfish.
How disappointed are you?
Very.
What are you most disappointed about?
I mean, soft, man. I'm tired of going out there and losing. Like, it's just that. I mean, I don't know, bro.
And man, I think Malik Neighbors might be right. I think the issues were more than just Daniel Jones. I think it's the entire organization. I think it's the coaching. I think there's a lot wrong with the New York Giants, and they're going to have to address a lot of their pieces that they're missing in this upcoming draft. But I just don't think there's going to be a quarterback that'll be able to turn this team around in this upcoming draft. I mean, there's rumors of possibly the Giants drafting Shedeur Sanders, but do you really think Shedeur Sanders would be able to turn around the New York Giants? Not without pieces, not without an O-line. So I don't know what's going on with that, but let me see what you guys think. You guys sound off below in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on Daniel Jones going to the Vikings and whether you think the Giants should draft a quarterback in this upcoming 2025 draft. Now, next up, a completely depleted 49ers team got absolutely embarrassed by the Green Bay Packers this last Sunday. They lost 38-10. And if you're a 49ers fan, you gotta be so disappointed with this season because injuries has essentially stolen this entire season from you. Even in this game, Brock Purdy, who's been the starting quarterback for the last 2 years, did not start. And it's getting crazy, man. There's multiple players on this team, star players who missed this game as well too. Nick Bosa also missed this game. Trent Williams missed this game. You already had some of the injuries from earlier in the season. So this has not been a good season overall by the 49ers. And honestly, this team has gone on playoff run after playoff run, and they've gone for long stretches in the playoffs at that. So fatigue and injury was bound to hit this team for at least 1 year at some point in time. From 2021 to 2023, the 49ers made the playoffs, and they had deep playoff runs, going all the way to the conference championship and losing to the Rams in 2021, going back again the next year and losing to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2022, and then going all the way to the Super Bowl in 2023 and losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. So these are long, deep playoff runs. The NFL season is a game longer now, so all this takes a toll on your body. Fatigue sets in, and to do this for 3 straight years, you know that injuries are going to probably pile up at some point. And it just seems like everything's hitting the fan all at once for this team. But it doesn't end there, man. Shout out to the 49ers for making all-time stupid-ass decisions, because I don't know why they still have Fred Warner playing out there. Fred Warner revealed that he's been playing with an ankle fracture since week 4 of the NFL season, and I understand the nature of the NFL playing through injury, but common sense would tell you that you probably need an ankle. It's kind of important, and for you to play through a fractured ankle in the NFL, nonetheless, just being a regular person, you know that it's not going to heal properly. I'm not gonna lie, man. Fred Warner playing through an ankle fracture right now really has me scratching my head. I don't really understand what the motivation for him to do this. It's not like it's a contract year for him. In 2021, he signed a 5-year, $95 million contract, so he was already under contract. Maybe he's playing for an extension or something like that. I don't really understand it. And then the Niners right now are 5-6 and bottom of the NFC West. The NFC West is pretty tight overall, so with a couple games they could still win and maybe make it to second or first in the NFC West. They're really only a game back from number 1. But there's been plenty of other players on the team, quarterback included, who's taken time off due to their injury. So I don't understand why Fred Warner would continue to play on a fractured ankle. And of course, losing in this fashion, 38-10 to their rivals, the Green Bay Packers, and the 5-6 start has brought up a lot of questions about head coach Kyle Shanahan and his future with the San Francisco 49ers. Even some people asking if he's on the hot seat for being a coach, potentially getting fired. I'll be honest, I don't really understand this. Firing a coach 1 year removed from the Super Bowl is kind of crazy, and it's pretty clear to everyone that the 49ers issues right now are as a large part of result not of coaching, but as a result of everybody being injured. I'm gonna sound like a Niners apologist, and I don't even really like the Niners, but they literally lost a Super Bowl by 3 points, my guy. You cannot fire your head coach after losing the Super Bowl the previous year by 3 points and having your season sabotaged by injuries. And recently, Deebo Samuels was asked about this on his podcast, and he had to double down and defend his head coach, Kyle Shanahan. This is what he said.
There's a lot of people that feel like Kyle Shanahan is in the hot seat right now. Do you agree with that?
I don't think so. Kind of since I've been here, I don't think we had nothing but one losing season, and I think that was COVID. We can harp on like injuries, but at the end of the day, that's a part of the game. Other than that, you can't show me a losing season that he's had since I've been here. First year Super Bowl, second year, COVID hit. Year after that, NFC Championship. Year after that, NFC Championship again. Last year Super Bowl. So it's like, why are you saying he in the hot seat? At the end of the day, we 5-6 right now, but we got like 6-7 games ahead. I just look at it from me going in the building every day, and just see his approach to the game. Even though like we kind of behind the 8 ball right now, but he don't look at it that way. And
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually have to agree with what Deebo Samuels is saying. Everything he's saying is pretty valid, so I don't disagree with him at all. And honestly, the Niners have a real chance of coming back and being first in the NFC West because the entire division is trash. If you look at the record, the Seahawks are the number 1 team in that division, and they have a record of 6-5. The Cardinals are a record of 6-5, and the 49ers right now are 5-6, so they're really only a game back of the second or first place. And obviously there's some tiebreakers in there depending on which teams went out for the rest of the year, but they could probably do it if they win out a lot of their games and if a lot of people come back and become a little bit healthier before playoff time comes around. But I want to know what you guys think. Sound off in the comments below. Do you think that the 49ers have a legitimate shot of being able to make the playoffs even though they've had an injury bug hit their entire team this entire season? And do you think Kyle Shanahan should get fired? Sound off in the comments below. Now in the next story, of course, the Jets are the gift that keeps on giving. After firing head coach Robert Saleh after the first 5 weeks and then turning around and firing their GM Joe Douglas, the owner Woody Johnson has hired a firm called the 33rd Team to hire their new general manager. But the funniest part about this is that 33rd Team firm was founded by the Jets' former general manager Mike Tenenbaum in 2019. And this is the former general manager that Woody also fired. So he's hiring his previous general manager that he fired to help him find his new general manager after he fired a general manager. You literally can't make this shit up, man. This is why Woody Johnson and the Jets are in a perpetual state of ass, because Woody Johnson is a terrible owner. This is why they're on a 13-year streak, because he just can't keep his hand out of the cookie jar, bruh. When you're a team owner, the best thing you can do is hire a great general manager who knows football and be hands off. That's all you need to do. You're a billionaire, you have all this money, let the money work for you. But all the owners who want to be hands-on and involved in football, when football is not their specialization, Jerry Jones, these are the type of results you get. And as a result of this, you've had a lot of analysts and a lot of fans who've been craving for Woody Johnson to just get it over with and sell the Jets. And after Jeff Bezos failed to buy the Washington Commanders when they were up for sale a couple of years ago, there's a growing inclination that Jeff Bezos would be the strong favorite candidate to be able to buy the Jets if they ever went up for sale. I, for one thing, it would be pretty interesting to see Jeff Bezos as an NFL owner, nonetheless an NFL owner of the New York Jets. Because if he's running the Jets anything like Amazon, you already know it's going to be lean, it's going to be efficient, and it's going to be about results, because that's what Amazon is about. So it'll be interesting to see if Jeff Bezos eventually wins that bid, or if Woody Johnson eventually puts the team up for sale, because he is pretty old. And he only bought the team for $635 million back in the year 2000. Look at me only saying 635 like it's a chump change or something like that. That's a lot of money. $635 million is a whole lot of money. Now, if the Jets owner did decide to sell the team, he would definitely make a pretty penny on it. The last NFL team for sale was sold in 2023. That was the Washington Commanders, which was sold to an investor group led by Josh Harris, and that sold for a whopping $6.05 billion, and that's in Washington. So you know, New York Jets being in the largest market in America, New York City, baby, it would sell for at least 6.5, maybe even $7 billion. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I probably want Woody Johnson to sell too, because there were reports that Woody Johnson wanted Aaron Rodgers benched after his trashy start after the first couple of weeks of the season. So it seems like Woody Johnson has been the big motivation for a lot of different moves that have been made this season. Originally, people thought it was Aaron Rodgers who wanted the coach gone or the GM gone, but it's looking like it was just the man at the top. It was the owner the entire time. And Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show just to address some of the rumors that were saying that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be back with the Jets the next season, or Aaron Rodgers was benched, and he addressed this in this clip right here.
As far as my future goes, I haven't told anybody in my life that I want to play in 2025 and not in the Jets. So that's 100% false. I actually said the opposite. You know, I said that I'm going to wait and see what happens with at the end of the season, and if they want me back, and what happens with Brick, and what happens with the offensive staff, and obviously the GM at the time, and you know, then they just fired Joe. There's a lot of things out of my control when it comes to that, but I've really enjoyed my time in New York. I mean, obviously we haven't had the success that we've all wanted to have, but you know, I've made some great friendships on the team. I've enjoyed living in Jersey. I've enjoyed time in the city. I've enjoyed getting to know the fans. And I came here to win here. So I'm not jumping off ship, you know, like, oh, I definitely want to play and not in New York. Like, I don't even know if I want to play yet, but New York would be my first option.
Now, it's hard to know if Aaron Rodgers is being truthful or if he's high off ayahuasca or whatever the hell he takes, but he said that he doesn't even know if he wants to come back and play yet. So depending on how this season shapes up for the rest of the year, maybe he might return to the Jets, maybe he might not. Honestly, I highly doubt he's going to come back to the Jets, but it would be funny. Aaron Rodgers could really do the funniest thing ever and sign with the Minnesota Vikings. That would be hilarious. Now, for our last and final topic, you know I gotta talk about our boy Saquon Barkley. Now, Saquon Barkley absolutely shitted on the Rams defense and rushed for 255 yards. He literally rushed for a single game record for Philadelphia Eagles with 255 yards. And the wild part about this is that 182 yards of that total amount came in the second half, because he had 2 yards where he went for 70 plus and was just absolutely out of there. He was gone. Now, Saquon Barkley currently has 1,392 rushing yards and 257 receiving yards, and if he can maintain the pace he's been having for the rest of the season, he will literally be on pace to break the single season scrimmage record, which has been held by Chris Johnson since the 2009 season, where he went for 2,000 548 scrimmage yards in total. Now, I am absolutely rooting for Saquon to break this record and boom right past it, but he would essentially have to run for 150 plus yards per game for the rest of the season, and that's a pretty hard thing to do, even for Saquon Barkley, man. This is the NFL. Injuries can happen. The last couple of games, they may sit him out because they want to maintain him before they go into the playoffs, so I highly doubt that this will actually happen. He'll break that record, but who knows, man. Saquon Barkley is a beast. He is an animal, so if there's anyone who can do it in this modern game, I think it's only him and Derrick Henry. And to me, when I just look at this, I just laugh. I just absolutely laugh because it makes me think back to these New York teams, their ownership. Like, what are the New York Giants doing? What were they thinking letting go of Saquon Barkley and him literally having the best season he's ever had in his career after they let go of him? Like, I hate to make this an entire New York episode just shitting on New York teams, but listen, man, the proof is in the pudding, man. There's something going on in New York, and it needs to change quick if they ever want to have a chance of being able to compete at a high level again. It has been years since any of these New York teams have been worth a damn. Since 2020, the New York Giants have only won one playoff game. They have a record of 1-1, so they've only been to 2 playoff games since 2020, and you already know the New York Jets are absolute ass. They haven't seen the playoffs in 13 years, so New York really has to get their shit together. But anyways, enough New York slander. That is all the topics we have for today. If you watched all the way through or listened all the way through, I really appreciate you all for rocking with me. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below. We'll be back with another long form episode next week, and I'm out.